It's funny to be back. We spent many a long night in front of this house shooting various debaucherous scenes with me and a bunch of the girls in the sorority. So it's a little disorienting to be back, but it's nice. Yeah, so basically it takes place when Mac and Kelly are in escrow to sell their house and move to the suburbs because they now have 2 children. And I and 2 other girls basically are freshmen in college, and we go to rush sororities, and then we realize that sororities can't have their own rights. They can't have parties. They can't be their own people. And so therefore, it's 2016, we want to be our own women, so we start our own feminist sorority, basically, which is just a sorority based around being able to be who we want to be and have the parties we want to have and not feel objectified or feel scared for ourselves. And so therefore, a big part of that is partying. So we need a house. We rent this house, which is next door to Mac and Kelly's house. It's an escrow. And in escrow, it's a very tumultuous time when the buyers can completely drop out and decide not to buy your house. And so they ask us to stop partying. And obviously, being the strong women we are, we have an issue with people telling us what to do. Multiple parties. We have all kinds of crazy parties at this house. But ultimately, our kind of ideal party is just one where we can do whatever we want to do and wear sweatshirts and sweatpants and not have to feel like we need to dress up for someone or be someone that we're not. Yes, much too loud. I mean, it's debauchery. It's a bunch of 19-year-old girls drinking and doing God knows what in a house with 0 parents. Yeah, there's some pretty raunchy jokes. Obviously, it's kind of a different connotation because it's a bunch of women. So there's less like in the first one they make jokes about making dildos out of their own, private parts, which is such a masculine joke. So for us, it's like more feminine. It's different. It's fun though. I mean, I think it's relatable. You know what I mean? I think the whole idea around the first and second movie is the fact that it's a bunch of kids not really knowing what they're doing because you're children and you're trying to figure yourself out and you have no parents around you to tell you how to live your life or how to get yourself out of situations adequately without being aggressive or crazy. So, it's relatable. I think everyone's kind of been in that moment in high school and going from high school into college. And I think in this movie, what's interesting about this one is there's a real heartstring with the girls finding friendship within each other. Because you know what I mean? It's a real awkward moment when you're trying to have these deep conversations with people you've never really met before, and you're all connecting on such a personal level away from the confines of what you've been comfortable with for your whole life. I think she is a nice girl. I mean, I think that's the thing about her is that she doesn't really change who she is. She's competitive. She's very competitive, and she wants to live her life the way that she feels she wants to live it, because I feel like, when she was in high school, she didn't have that many friends, and she couldn't really do what she wanted to do because she was in a lot of different athletics and things like that. And so when she comes to college, she feels free. She feels invigorated. She feels like she can be and do whatever she wants to. And so therefore she acts accordingly. And I think she goes a little overboard, like everyone does at that age, when you get all that freedom. But ultimately, no, none of them are bad kids. They just are bad neighbors. Whoa, there you go. Slipping that title in there. Yes, exactly. At first, he starts to help us and to teach us his ways until we want to buck his system and we don't agree with it, and so he changes sides and he tries to take us down. They're great. I mean, honestly, I do genuinely love Seth and Rose so much. They're 2 of the nicest people, and they're such huge actors, but you would never know because they genuinely have no ego about them, and they're just really cool people. But they're pretty horrible neighbors. Yeah, tons of improv. I mean,
Why?
I mean, because I think that's just the way that Seth's comedy works. I think that it's a very improv-driven set, and they want actors who have their input and just make stuff up on the fly. I mean, that's what Seth does and what Rose do, and then they just, I mean, they use the script as more of an outline almost when it comes down to it, which is really interesting. It was different for me too because I don't do much comedy, so for me it was a real learning curve. It was very exciting. Yeah, no, we became really close. Me and all the girls, we would all go out together and get dinner and hang out at the house and have sleepovers. Like, we all became really close friends. Kiersey and I are really, really close still. He's a really open palm director. He's really, really cool and yeah, he allows you to make a lot of your own decisions and really try whatever you want to try, but he also has a lot of input. And he's really good at finding which improv worked the most and directing you in that area and saving what is the funniest and really being able to find that comedy in the moment. So he's a really awesome director. My French accent, Lord. I watched too much Les Mis as a kid. I saw it too many times. Of course, yeah. I mean, I think, it's a story about young women empowering each other, and yeah, they're making mistakes, but I think the difference with it is the fact that we're allowing them to make the same mistakes that boys make in movies all the time. It's just a group of girls doing it. Because I think an interesting thing about young women, and they say that it's empowering to show young women getting jobs and being tenacious, but I think it's also empowering with the fact that girls are allowed to make the same mistakes that guys are, and it's nice that we show that. It's nice that we show girls being silly and dumb and not knowing what to do and not being the smartest and the top of their class. You know what I mean? I think that just showing women in a perfect light is another form of sexism. So I think this is interesting, showing the adverse of that. Yeah, of course. I love comedy. I think it's been a really interesting process for me, and I would really love to come back to this world.